The meningitis menace is back again. Yeah, I'm the meningitis menace. Don't make me spit bars on here. You guys won't even make it if I start rapping. Nobody would make it through if I started rapping. It would end, it'd end a lot of careers. I'll tell you that. I would be on the top billboards and I'd be like Rachel getting a Grammy if I really wanted to. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not that big of an ego guy in my head. Okay, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I do have a P.O. box. Just so you guys know, I am going to have to go in. Our P.O. box currently is no longer ours, so I have to go back in and get a new P.O. box update. So I will let you guys know when I do that. I'm trying to do it. It's just so it takes forever to get into USPS and actually talk to somebody, get the P.O. box. I tried to do it online. It wasn't working. I couldn't renew it, and so whatever. Frick dis. All right, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to get to. This is going to be another parter, and the reason being is because the more that I dive into these subjects, I can't skip over things. I can't just dive in and give you guys not enough context. And so I'm reading this book, and I'm writing notes, and every chapter presents so many thematic points that are so heavy, and I know more people relate to this, and there's levels, right? There's degrees and levels of how people have been traumatized. So with that being said, we in a stew, welcome back. So good to see you guys. Yes, I'm so sorry to not respond to you guys with the P.O. box. I tried really hard to get our same one, and it wasn't letting me do it online. So I have to go in, but I will hopefully get the exact same one and it'll be the same. So I'm sorry about that if you guys sent anything in the meantime. Good to see our community. Hello, mods, our warriors, our chiefs, and our mother frickin' ones. Welcome. All right, today we're diving in. This is a Mike Tyson punch when it comes to a book title. I got to give Jeanette a lot of... She really understands what she's saying. She's not saying this to be sensational. And the more that I read it and listen to what she's saying... By the way, I'm an Audible guy, okay? I don't mean that in a funny way because I am listening to her book on Audible, but I like to hear people. I like to hear books. I like to hear it. That's just, I'm a verbal, whatever the frick it. I'm a learner through words. Okay. With that being said, I've been listening to this, and it's interesting that Jeanette reads her book on Audible. So if you've not heard this, you might not understand the context, but either way, this is going to be a good video because there's a lot of themes here that we're going to play through. Okay. So I'm only going to go through the first, I think we have about 10 chapters that I want to touch on today because it is seriously that many thematic points that I think we need to spend a little bit more time on. So let's get to it. Jeanette explains the control and manipulation of her mom, recounting of how her mother wanted things to be a certain way. So I am going to tell you that this book, if you do not know who Jeanette McCurdy is, she was a big part of my childhood because she starred in a TV show called iCarly on Nickelodeon. And at that time, Drake and Josh and iCarly were like the two biggest shows I think Nickelodeon had. And I also think that they ran some serious numbers for a lot of people. Like iCarly, I can honestly say was a really good show in general. And so Jeanette McCurdy was one of the 3 stars of this show. And she is like, it's crazy because it's like you grow up watching somebody. I don't know how old she is. Actually, I might look that up right now. She's not that much older than me that I would assume, but we're in the same age range. And, you know, you grow up watching somebody. I'm going to look it up. And she does have a new book out right now, and we'll get into that a little bit later. She's 33, and I'm almost 30, so she's not that much older than me. So interesting book. Let's start with, yes, Buttersock. I actually really think Sam's character is, it's so crazy, okay? I'm going to preface, there's so many things I'm going to have to, I'm going to try to narrow this down so we don't get too far off topic. So when it comes to iCarly, Jeanette was a very outspoken, does things her way, and is very, very, I'm going to get it this way, when she was the exact opposite in her life. I think that is such an interesting dynamic, and we'll get into that part of the book later as well. But it's interesting because she was basically raised in an environment that forced her to be a people pleaser, right? So she has a mom who always wanted to be famous and be known. And again, when I've told you guys this before, I think a lot of times okay, let me preface this way. There's something I think that happens in someone's life when they need recognition more from like a big audience. They want everyone screaming their name. They want that. I think if you look into that person's life, they usually tend to want something more that they're not getting. And I think what happens when you're famous is that people are fawning over you, or, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever they're looking for, whether it's status or whether it's, you know, being recognized on the streets or money or whatever these people are looking for. That's, you know, what feeds this. Well, Jeanette did not want to be famous. Jeanette was actually raised LDS. So I'm listening to her book going, holy crap, I know exactly what she's talking about. So we're gonna get into all of that today. And today is about, you know, being a people pleaser and learning how to not do that, and dealing with your mother wounds and becoming your own person. And I think that that's what this book really does. So let's do that. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Tess, Maria, Chrissy? You're not old, Chrissy. Come on now. That's not old. Age is just a number, baby. All right, so let's get right into it. Salt and Pepper. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you. So here we go. I'm going to get into my notes today. McSplunky, my guy, thank you. I like that flex. And I like that little pink afro they got going on. Okay, so chapter 1, Jeanette explains the control and manipulation of her mom, recounting of how her mother wanted certain things a certain way. We're not talking about, so I want it this way. We're talking about, this is how it's going to go. I have it my way, and everybody lives in there, and we'll get into what that means more. And again, I don't want to give too much away from her book, but I do have to get into some specifics because context matters. So Jeanette, a perfect example, she goes back to when she's young, very young, like 5 to 6 years old, which is very important because these are where wounds can hold for the rest of your life. Like, some people don't realize that some of your wounds are from when you were very little. Now, we're not going to be like Julie Rowe and say that I'm traumatized from 600 years ago. I can't even get through it. I can't get through that. We're not recounting trauma from a past life. We're talking about when you're very young and you go through something. It's very hard, right? So Jeanette was given a birthday present. She hated every detail of it, but pretended that it was her absolute favorite thing. She explained how every single thing about her birthday present was the exact opposite of something that she loved. But her mom was looking at her. She's at her birthday party with all her friends, and she has to please her mother. So she acts like it's the best thing ever. She's so excited, even though every single detail is all the things she hates about these clothing. And I said, that's her people pleasing to the max. And so let's stop on the people pleasing part and let's break that down a little bit more, because people pleasing really comes in the way of you literally sacrifice yourself to give someone else joy because you are now in transactional love. Unfortunately, a lot of us probably in some way, shape, or form have done transactional love. Okay. Much love to you, Colbert. Appreciate you, Slow. Love you too, bro. Yeah, Colbert's in the building, baby. Here's Colbert. There he is in his glory. The people-pleasing thing will wreck your life. And what will happen is you'll spend the rest of your life belittling and minimizing your needs, your wants, your desires. So that way people transactionally love you for the part you're playing. So even if you're not an actress like Jeanette was, legitimately an actress or actor, you are playing a part. And that part means I do what I need to do to get my needs met. So I go out of my way to please my spouse. I go out of my way to please my work. I go out of my way to please my kids. I go out of my way to please my friends. None of that is an authentic connection. That means you are always non-authentic. And one thing that I love that I always give back to my therapist that has been teaching me is learning to be your authentic self. Who are you? If you removed your trauma and removed all of your bad patterns because of trauma, if you just took all this stuff that has you know, led you to where you are in your life. Why does my shirt look like that? What the hell? Sorry. What the hell is that? Why is it doing that? Anyway, very ADHD. Sorry about that. What happens is you're spending your whole life doing that, and it becomes transactional, and you're going to always either be mad at yourself or never getting your needs met truly, never feeling truly loved, and fighting for love. I don't want anybody in our chat and on our community to feel that you have to be an inauthentic version of yourself to be loved. And especially when it comes to a mother or father. We have a lot of people who have mother and father wounds because your parents didn't know how to take care of you and love you correctly. That doesn't mean you are unworthy of love. And that doesn't mean that you do not deserve to be loved for who you are, not what you do. Those are such important things. And I love that Kelsey says that to our daughters all the time too, is that I love you for who you are, not what you do. There's no performance you need to do to be loved, right? So we're going to get into that part as well, but that's a big, big point. I'm a people pleaser, and I've had to literally stop myself. Like, literally, cut my own balls off and hand them to you as a gift. I think that's going to make you feel happy. Extreme, but it feels that way when you are cutting off pieces of yourself to give away, thinking that your gift is worth their love. Here's my arm, here's my heart, here's my head. Anything you want, I'll give it to you. I'm willing. But they're not willing to give you anything because it's transactional. They're going to have to get it back. They're going to have to get something from you. Okay. So sorry for the extreme reasoning, but that's just exactly what I mean. Okay. Her mom is constantly recounting living through cancer. So what happens is when Jeanette was very young, like around 2, her mom got really bad cancer. Jeanette's mom spends a very long time recounting the fact that she got over cancer and kind of makes the family constantly live through the fact that she lived through cancer. It's like this big scenic moment that, oh my gosh, mom made it. It was like she at the way she describes it is they even had to sit down and watch a videotape of when the mom found out that she got cancer. And then when she beat it, and she would make them watch it on a loop weekly, where she basically wanted them all to react to this amazing feat that she beat cancer and that she's this. And I'm not saying that's not a big deal, but what happens is that shows you that is the type of person that forces you to react a certain way. Now, this is emotional manipulation at its finest. When a parent constantly puts you in position to please them, you have to do things like that. Like, hey, come watch this thing that I achieved. Here's my high school trophies. There's nothing wrong with that. It's if you're forcing somebody to have an emotional reaction to something that happened, that's ridiculous. So her mom is constantly making her live through that. So just that she's giving that context because that's the type of stuff that she had to do. Now, again, every kid's heart just wants love. That's all you want. You don't even know how to get it. You don't know how to ask for it. You just go for it, right? So, the mom was mad because I think in the home video, I might have misunderstood this, but I wrote this down. She said Jeanette was singing Jingle Bells and not making the moment about her. So Jeanette wasn't like feeling the horrible moment and feeling the environment and reading the room as a little kid. And that's kind of the thing that a parent or a person can demand the room to be about them. That's narcissism at its finest. The world revolves around them. And so if you are not also revolved around them, you're an enemy or you're a bad person because you're not giving them the attention, So that was another thing. Now, Jeanette ends this chapter this is very deep. She does not hold back, okay? Jeanette wishes at her 6th birthday party for her mommy to stay alive for another year. That's very familiar because I was praying, and again, this is very different circumstances. Jeanette's mom actually was possibly going to die, but my mom, when I was 2 years older than Jeanette, was coming to me telling me I am going to die. And there is a pressure on you as a child because you don't want to lose your parent that you would do anything to make sure they live. But you can't help that. So here's Jeanette wishing and praying that her mother uses her birthday wish to pray for her mother or wish for her mother to stay alive. Horrible circumstance. It should never be. It's not on Jeanette to keep her mother alive, and she can't even do anything about it anyway. Okay. So that's kind of chapter 1 in its finest. Chapter 2, Jeanette comes into Jeanette mom's publicly criticizes her dad. Now I had to hit on this because this is also part of a family dynamic. And there's a lot of moments where Jeanette goes into these moments. It's very important to not fight in front of your kids. I've learned that, and it's really important that your kids don't see cat and dog fighting. because I believe that really, they're scared. They love both parents. They don't really understand or comprehend what's going on, and they just want peace. And I grew up in these environments because Lori just was a fighter, and there was constantly commotion and fighting, and it's just what life was. And so I know exactly what Jeanette is talking about when it comes to those environments. And again, it's a big lesson for all of us that the best thing you can do is calm a situation down, especially with your spouse, and try to have a conversation out of view of your children if possible, or put it on hold, which can be really hard. I understand that. But fighting in front of your kids is never going to be the answer, or making them pick sides. It's not going to ever do anything. Also, Jeanette says that her mom says that she's her best friend, which puts a pressure on her to be in an unrealistic relationship. Okay. Please don't come at me in the comments, but I need to hit on this because I just truly believe I grew up this way. So I need you guys to understand where I'm coming from. Lori all the time called me her best friend, made a position for me that I could not fill. Right. So there's nothing wrong. And I think about this all the time. When there's age appropriate gaps, you can be very close, like a best friend with your children. But I do believe they need to be a lot older because they should see you as a parent first, then a best friend. I think that telling your baby that they're your best friend puts an unrealistic pressure on them to be your friend, because best friends and parents and children are not the same thing. I don't rely on a best friend to take care of my needs, fulfill my, what I need in my life. I'm not, my best friend doesn't do all that stuff. There's roles, right? Best friend, spouse, parent. You have to separate and categorize. You can't tell your kids, you're my best friend, because I think that puts a pressure on them that they don't understand. They love that idea. It sounds great. I always was like, yeah, my mom's my best friend, I'm our best friend. But guess what? You don't know, because best friends are different. Best friends talk about different things than a parent would. So you have to be appropriate with the relationship. And so I personally know exactly what she's talking about. I've been told by my parent, by my mother, you're my best friend at a very young age. And it's just a role you shouldn't put your children in. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. And it's not to criticize anybody. It's simply, you have to understand that is not a healthy thing to have with a young child. You can't be best friends with a young child, no matter what. Okay. I say okay a lot. I hope that doesn't sound rude. I think I'm just kind of period for myself, right? Jeanette's mom then tells her she was destined for a life of fame and fortune, okay, just like Lori, and wanted to be an actress. So she goes in these tangents. And the really interesting thing about this book is that Jeanette's like recalling these things. And obviously she's an actress and a performer. So she even does somewhat voices. Like she makes the book come to life. So while I'm listening to it, I can really, really sense, because when she's reading the book, she knows what happened. So when she reads the context of her mom, she says it the way she remembers it and how her mom spoke. So it hits a little different. Lori also wanted that life. And I never really realized that till I was older. But then I remember we were supposed to be on Fear Factor after she had already been on Wheel of Fortune. There was something about her that believed she was destined for this life. That alone is a wound that makes someone think they have to be somewhere they're not. That's a pressure that people put on themselves, and sometimes the world puts on themselves. And I think it led to Lori's demise, and I think it leads to a lot of people's demise. I'm meant for so much more. You can't be happy where you are because your mind is so set that I'm supposed to be somewhere else, so you can't find peace. Instead of working towards something like that and becoming something, you have to understand that is important for you to live in the moment. And if you want something in the future, you need to start making practical steps towards that thing. And people, I think, just assume, oh, it's just going to happen. This is just going to happen for me because I'm meant to. This is my destiny. This is the movie and the pop culture influence. You're the one of one. You're the chosen one. You're the only one that's going to make it. You're the 0.1%. It's really, really bad, right? But Lori, again, I told her this, and I told you this is one of the most chilling moments in my life. I was a teenager. I was studying psychology, and I just remember telling Lori, I said, some people that are so desperate to be famous that they're willing to do anything, and you can be on the wrong side of history. And I literally said these words to her because it baffled me that I think some people just are so enamored with being known, even if it's as a murderer, serial killer, whatever. they know that their name is going to echo forever because of their heinous crimes or heinous things that they did. So they're okay with that. Because the goal for them is, I need to attain this thing. I need to be famous. I want to be famous. So again, I said that to her, and then she became notorious for being an evil person. So I think that's wild. And then she tells her directly, I want you to have the life I never had. And she wants her to go to Hollywood. Now, they already lived in California. And again, which is interesting, like I said, she's only like 4 years older than me. She's only 4 years older than me. And she's LDS, which is interesting because at that time, I think California and Texas, at least from what I can tell you, I don't know for a fact, but I know that they were not very popular LDS places. Like I didn't know anybody LDS other than people in my ward when I was a kid who were LDS. But like everybody else I knew, everybody else was not LDS until I moved to Arizona, and a lot of people were LDS. It was wild because I just didn't know people were LDS like that. I didn't know their communities. I didn't know about Utah or Arizona, anything like that. I just grew up with everybody being different religions. It never really mattered to me. But it's interesting because that's a very small demographic in these different states other than like Utah, Idaho, and Arizona, right? And then she tells her, this is, I think, a manipulative term, which is, I want what's best for you. As she's telling her, I want you to be famous. I want you to go to Hollywood. You're beautiful. They love little blonde eye. I'm going to say something down here, right here. It's literally the next line. Want to be mommy's little actress. And that little thing is very LDS. I have heard so many people say that who are LDS, who say things like my little bestie, or you're my little actress, my little perfect, my little whatever word they use. They always put that little thing there. I don't know what that is, but I always heard that from a lot of the people who are LDS. So I just thought that was funny. But it reaffirmed the LDS connection that we both have, right? So we're only in chapter 3. So I'm trying to tell you guys, we can't do the whole book or else we'd be here for 6 hours. Okay. Chapter 3, putting on a show and doing what mom told her. Like, if she doesn't, she's going to disappoint people. So her mom takes her to auditions. Her mom knows that she's going to possibly have a future in fame. And she takes her to auditions, and Jeanette feels the pressure to please this casting director she's never met. And she knows if she doesn't perform, she has to report back to her mom, who is literally waiting for her to report back. Imagine being 6 years old and being put in this position. I really just don't know. I was in a different kind of place and pressure, but nothing like this. I didn't have to physically go out and literally perform to be a star in Hollywood. I wouldn't have had I couldn't have done it. And I don't know what Lori was thinking. I was a scared, very scared kid. And Lori wanted me and her. We almost made it, by the way, to the mother and like, it was like the Fear Factor, but the version where it's the parent and the child. And we had phone calls. I remember they recorded our phone call. They were like really pushing Lori and I very far in. And she was having me train in the pool to like hold my breath underwater and do all these stupid things to like prepare. I was a scared ass kid. There's no way I would have made it. I would have broke down crying instantly as a child. But again, this is what I mean. They want something. And then you're the kid. You're just trying to please your parent. And if you already live in a dynamic where you're emotionally always trying to give so you can have, and you're never really getting that back, or like it is transactional, of course you're going to do whatever they ask. That's what you want to do. You want to feel loved. And so you're going to listen and you're going to try. So I trained to be in Fear Factor. I know, right, Slow? I don't know what the hell thought was, bro. I was a scared kid. I was scared of everything. And that was a lot of trauma in my life and a lot of abuse and things that happened. And I would not have done well. Let's just be 100% real. I would have not done well. But we had made it pretty far in the process. And so they were pretty serious. I think they actually shut the show down not too long after that with the kids. Maybe it's because it was liability or something. But it was happening. Like, Lori wanted to be on TV. I didn't think about it like that. Because like she was in her pageant, and then she did Wheel of Fortune, and then she was trying to be on Fear Factor. I think she was on an episode of HGTV in Kauai. And I think, we had been like random background in Burn Notice in Miami. And then we went to, I've told you guys this story before if you didn't know. This was years ago. but we were extras in Modern Family. And when we were there at the Modern Family thing, my mom's cousin was a sound guy. And so I got to meet all the Modern Family cast, and they asked if I wanted to do a part because my mom was like, you should do something more and you should be on the show. And so we went out of our way, because I was wearing a big Nike shirt, and we went out of our way and bought a Disney shirt because it couldn't have a logo. And I was talking to the shorter, younger one. Her name's Ariel. I've told you guys this story before, but I'm just connecting these dots literally as we're talking, because I didn't think about this. But she was also like wanting me to be in the show. The point is, you guys know I'm tall. I was way taller than the whole cast. And especially with Ariel, I kid you not, I think I was a foot plus taller than her. So it just didn't look right, in my opinion. Like, it just would have been such a height difference. I don't know if that matters, but then they kept stopping because I was walking too slow during B-roll, which is them filming. You guys can look this up. I can literally show it to you right now if I wanted to, if I could find it on my YouTube. It's me and Lori and Tylee and Melanie Pulowski and Brandon all walking across back and forth over and over in front of the first scene that they shoot, which is them in Disneyland. And it's at the gates, and they're going into Disneyland for this episode. And so there was this whole push though for me to have a part and all of these things. And so again, I didn't have that kind of pressure Jeanette had, but like there was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to act. You can't just throw me into like a TV show and have lines. Of course I wanted to do it because in the moment it's cool. But again, that's my point, is like those kind of pushes to perform, to do something. Of course I was going to try to do it. If they would have said, come be on camera, I would have done it. But anyway, they're all nice. And I was a lot bigger than them, even at like 17. And I'm just going to show you guys the clip if you're not mad about that. Let me find it. I don't even know if it's on YouTube. It's crazy though. Disneyland. Wow, it's on here. Here it is. Okay, you're going to see, I'm going to literally, hold on one second. Here it is. Modern Family. I'm going to show it to you because you don't believe me. I don't give a frick. Disney. This is it. I'm just going to scrub through so you can see it. You ready? All right, let me turn this down on my side. I don't need to hear it. All right, this is us. Right. You can literally see us. I'm just going to have to play it.
It's a leash. Don't judge us.
Okay, go on. We have a runner.
It might be.
Lily is going through a phase, at least.
You see my big butt. And they kept saying I'm the big guy's walking too slow. How rude is that?
All right.
I don't know where we are.
Is that a leash?
No. It's a child safety tether. This way.
No.
Hey, sweetie.
You're going to see
it's a leash.
Pulowski's in this. And
don't judge
Brandon.
us.
Okay, go on.
Wait for it. Not kidding. It's
We
happening.
have a runner.
Lily.
Lily.
Skip this.
Paul.
What the hell?
Lily heel.
Dad.
They cut me out.
Lily and
Dog, they cut me out in this scene. I got cut.
Expansion.
Frick
There is no
this. This
you
is
in
not. I swear on my life, I'm in this freaking thing. I'll have to find it. I kid you not, though. You will see me. I'm wearing a big, huge jacket, and they kept telling people that I was too big to be in the shot. So, this is totally off topic. And I swear on my life, you can find me in there. I don't know where it is, but it's in there. If you watch full episode, it's in there. I actually showed it to you guys on one of my old YouTube videos. Okay. Anyway, so I get that push to be on the show, and in your mind, you can find me. I swear on my life, I've shown the proof. I got the receipts. Slow, don't play me right now, bro. I can't log into a big TV show thing. They'll shut the stream down. I'll screenshot this. I promise you, I'm in this. I swear on my life. You'll see Lori, you'll see Pulowski, you'll see Tylee top of her head, and you'll see me. It just wasn't in that shot. I don't know why. You know what? I'm hijacking this whole thing. I'm hijacking it. You guys are really not believing me. Can't believe we're doing this. This is not what I planned to do today. It's in this first scene, dog. And I'm in this scene, and I walk across, and you see me. I remember playing it. Man, frick this. It's in the first scene. And we hung out in the back. Whatever. Frick this. I'll prove it later. I swear on my life it did. Anyway, you guys, telling you right now. All right, back to what we were talking about. So I felt pressure to do it. I felt pressure to be in the show, and I didn't realize that would have been, not that I wouldn't have done it, but at the end of the day, also, I did want to do something for my mom, right? I wanted to please my mom. And I remember this is another big part of pleasing your parent is I wanted to, I forgot what I'm talking about because now I'm trying to find this video because you guys are not believing me. I'm going to find it right now. So that's what it is. But I didn't realize she wanted that for me as well. So that's a big problem, is that she wanted me to be famous, and that wasn't something that okay, so here's what I always thought was going to happen. I thought I was going to be an athlete or something of that I don't know, world. And then I was going to be able to go around and speak to people. I always wanted to tell my story and help people. That was like the main goal. It's like, if you do this thing, this is the other result, because I saw athletes come around and do that. So I found it, by the way. You're talking crap. You are talking all that garbage. Telling you right here it is. You guys talking all that garbage. There's Melanie. Watch. Well, hold on. Let me turn it up. You think I'm kidding around?
Guys, so this is actually on someone's YouTube channel. It's so funny. I couldn't find the actual clip. If you go,
there's Melanie right there, and Brandon.
And Tylee's there too. She has a little hat on. But I'm gonna pop in right now. I have a blue shirt.
Here I come.
With I think a white undershirt, because this is after I bought this shirt. I was trying to be on the show. So you see me come in.
There it is. There's Colby. I freaking told you.
I'm right there. And then Tylee, she's so short you can't even.
I freaking told you. Shut up, Colby. Rewinding it because you guys don't want to talk all that garbage about me. First of all, right here, clear shot that. Ready? This is Brandon and Melanie right there. That's Brandon and Melanie. Talking all that garbage to me. I'm pretty hard to miss. They look like a big freaking nerd. Told you guys. Receipts, screenshots, picture, it didn't happen. Yeah, how about that? Here I come. Look how much bigger I am than everybody else, okay? I'm not even gloating. They just kept saying I'm too big. There's me and stupid Lori. There's me and stupid Lori right there. You can see my face clear as day. Yeah, I told you. All right, back to my point. Frick dis. So, I gotta go back to my video now. I can't see you guys. All right, so I told you. Told you, bro. I told you. Now, I was supposed to have a speaking part. Yeah, I was young. And then they told me, and then they literally were like, yeah, big guy's blocking the shot. And so I had to walk way faster. I kid you not. I walked across and they go, stop. And they go, what? And they said, you're blocking the shot. Big guy's blocking the shot. And they're talking about me. I felt horrible. So I had to walk further, closer to the family, and way faster. And Tylee's in there too, but you can't even see her because she's so little. So we're on the show. Obviously, Lori is soaking it up. If you watch that whole clip, she kept like, she does the thing that she kind of does in like, what's it called? She's like over, like one of those extras that no one's ever going to notice, but I think she knew that she's on camera. So she did perform. That big guy still walks too fast. You know what, Kelsey? You don't even show up for most of the stream. You come in here just for that. Really? They kept calling me the big guy. So anyway, then I was supposed to like kind of not go on a date with Ariel, but she invited me to go hang out. And then the main woman, who's the mom, said, you can't go out with him. He's too big. I just did not feel good after that. That's what I was relayed that message in the moment. She said, he's too big for you. He'll crush you. So that made me feel great. And I kid you not, that's what they said. So we'll live with that. Yeah, too big for you. He'll crush you. We really got on a side tangent. You can't mess with me. You can't mess with me with the ADHD. We're going back to Jeanette. All right. So the director comes over, and Jeanette did not perform at this in their first audition ever. There are multiple people who are watching her, and she's doing a monologue. Okay. So she does the monologue, and she gets a background part, but not a speaking part. This is, again, her first time ever. And her mom and the director are talking. The mom is kind of like going off on the director, like, no, she's ready. She's ready. She's ready. She can do this. And she said she wants this more than anything. So she's already speaking on behalf of her daughter. She wants her to live this life, and she's already forcing this. Okay. Now, by chapter 4, Jeanette is forced to live her mom's dreams, and she constantly has the feeling of inadequacy, like she doesn't belong there. So they go to Hollywood studios very early on in the morning, like hours before they're supposed to, because her mom was scared to drive on the freeway. They get there, and they take a big picture of like, there's a big mural of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker fighting, and her mom makes her take a picture. And when they do that, something about Jeanette feels like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like there's just that feeling that she doesn't belong. So that's got to be a lot, because she's very young. She's very young. Jeanette is dealing with what anybody would want, which is to be accepted and to do a good job and please her mom and everyone around her. So she is now an extra. They're out there for a long time. If you've never been an extra, I'll give you, again, background. When we did this for Modern Family, there's 3 different scenes that we walked around through, and they are literally, it's got to be a hard job to be on TV or like do a cut show, because the background, that walking thing we did, I kid you not, for a few hours. And then the other scene we were a part of was over kind of in the Wild West side, and we stood in front of a bunch of people in front of these ropes, and then they used this in the background, and then they changed their shots. And so you're when you're a background anything, you literally stand in the background of these TV shows and do the same thing over and over and over and over. So it's grueling. And if you're a child, it'd be hard. Okay. Then she feels like, she tells her mom to continue. She tells her mom, who continues to make her feel like she did well and performed. I felt like I had to do that, but in a different way. So she feels like she has to do well, because if she comes back and she's not literally told, you're the star of this movie, the mom's going to be upset with her regardless. So she really couldn't win. You know what I mean? She's a little girl. Okay, now chapter 5. It's interesting because she talks about how you can tell she's got some feelings about the LDS church. She's definitely got some feelings about the LDS church. She is not having it. Her exact words were something to the degree of like, you're sinless until you're 8 years old, because Joseph Smith said it that way. She's definitely got her feelings towards the church. And so, but it's also interesting because she goes into that, and I want to go into this because this is really important, how religion and feeling and all these things play into someone's life. So, her mom was battling with cancer, and her exact words were, if I was a good and faithful servant, God would heal me from cancer. So they weren't really churchgoers. And I relate to that because up until a certain point, our family did not go to the LDS church on a regular basis. It wasn't every week. It wasn't constant. We were considered what a lot of people call Jack Mormon, in a sense of like, you're not really, how do you explain Jack Mormon? You're just not like following all the stuff. You're not goody two shoes or like trying really hard. Like you're just Mormon, but you're kind of just on the outskirts. You kind of, I don't know. You're like a Mormon by association, but you're not like doing all the stuff you're supposed to be doing, or like going to church every week and keeping up all these covenants and all that stuff. Right. So, and then I think it's a really interesting moment, because this is where developmental stuff happens for religion and for your own sake. Jeanette asked the question, do we just go to church if we want to get something from God? Right? Because that's the example her mom is setting. Hey, I wanted to be healed from my cancer, so I started showing up to church on a regular basis. If I'm a good and faithful servant, God will heal me from my cancer, which she ended up beating her cancer. And so that's kind of the example that she's feeling, in there. This is really interesting. Jeanette loved primary, which, if you don't know what primary is for, yes, perfect example. A lukewarm Mormon. Exactly. That's a perfect way to put that. She loved primary. Primary is where all the kids go. And then I think you have like certain ages. So you have a group of your kids that you go to for primary, and then you split off into your own little class, and then you come back with like your group. Okay. She loved that. And she loved the feeling of church. And we're going to get into why. But church was an escape from her normal life. And we're going to explain why that is. But I've told you guys this before. I think the church for me growing up did the same thing. When you go to a Mormon church, they're very similar. They almost have the same exact layouts. They have the same, the same chairs, the same walls, a very similar feeling. And so anywhere you go, you kind of get this familiarity. Everyone's wearing their white shirts and their ties. And there's just something about when you're there, you feel like you're in a normal, I don't know. It's like even if you're on the other side of the world or whatever, and you go to church, you're going to feel familiarity. Let's call it familiarity. Okay. The church was an escape from her normal life. Jeanette's mom had become a quote unquote hoarder and wouldn't let things go. And it got to such a bad point when she was going through her cancer. Her mom wouldn't throw away receipts, candy wrappers, broken mugs, and rooms were filling up with stuff to the top, to the point where Jeanette no longer had a bedroom, but had to sleep on basically gymnastics mats with her brothers out in the living room, which was also packed to the brim because every single part of the garage and her house was hoarded of every single thing that the mom could get. She didn't ever want to let anything go. So there's a big moment there where her home life is no longer clean, safe, and gives her anxiety all the time. So the mom continues to hoard and takes over their rooms. So now you take away any privacy or any kind of this is mine, and takes away her bed basically because she no longer has a bed. She's sleeping on a mattress, not even a mattress, a mat, not even, anything like that. So, yeah, just insane. Like imagine having your kids sleeping on a mat in the living room when they have a bedroom and they have a bed, but you're so obsessed with keeping stuff that you need more and more room to the point where you kick your children out of their room. And I understand, I've watched hoarders. I know that it's psychological. I understand all that, but it's still heartbreaking. Just that alone would be really hard, excuse me, really hard to deal with. How do you deal with that? Right. So one of the things that we'll go back into why Jeanette loved church, she said she loved how clean the church was and she needed the 3-hour escape. So back when we were growing up, okay, back when I was a younger cat, back when I tell my kids this all the time and they get so mad because I don't know why, they just hate when I say this. I'm like, when I was a younger cat, that pisses my kids off so much, especially my older daughter. She's like, you're not even that old. When I was a younger cat, church was 3 hours. You had sacrament meeting, which is everyone comes together and does like the bread and the water sacrament, which is keeping up the covenants, which is taking on Jesus. Communion. If you don't know what sacrament means, it's like communion. It's bread and water in representation of Jesus's blood and flesh that you're taking on, the covenants that you made. And then you do that. Then you have like a middle meeting. And then you have an ending meeting. So for me as a man, I would go from family, like everyone says a family, to your priesthood stuff. And then at the end you have another priesthood thing. So it's 3 hours. So you have a 3-hour block that you're at church. And she loved those 3 hours. She needed that because it was the only time she felt that escape ever is from going to church. And also she wanted peace and order, which I think any child wants structure, wants to feel like their house isn't a mess, wants to like, even as a subconscious, they just don't know what they need, but that's why it's such a big deal. The problem is she gets into a really specific story about how her brothers always spill their milk in the carpet. And when they do that, their mom will come out in her leggings or her tights or whatever they're called, pantyhose, and accidentally step in it because there's really no room to walk around this house. It's that bad. And when she steps in the milk, she immediately says, we have to stop at Kroger's and get new leggings, cutting into Jeanette's time. So Jeanette's like, hey, boys, go get cleaned up, telling grandma, get out of the bathroom. The boys need to take a shower. They need to take a bath. Like, she's on their case. And to them, they're like, you're so annoying. But she's like, please, like, just get me to church. All I need is to go to church. But she's like, her mom is even taking away that one little bit of time that she has where she has some peace. And she also loved the smell of how clean the church was. So that just lets you know how much she hated her home environment, right? Okay, Okay, so chapter 6, Jeanette. We're in chapter 6. Jeanette needs connection with her dad, and she doesn't want her parents to fight. So her dad is also cold to her. Comes home, he's very busy, working constantly. He gets yelled at for working late. He shows up late, and at some point, they scream at each other, and to the point where, I guess on a regular basis, her mom kicked her dad out of the house, and in this one instance, she held a knife and told him to get out and lunged at him multiple times until he finally got his shoes and left. And she uses a very mundane, like, you got to stop, you have to chill as her dad, and then a very, very irate version of her mom. And she's a great, she's great at understanding how to tell you how she felt. And so I recommend listening to this stuff, because on top of what I'm telling you, the thematic point is fighting in front of your children, and then the fear of like seeing a parent grab a weapon and lunge and create that kind of thing. As that's happening, Jeanette's trying to calm her mom down because she knows the snap is coming. So one thing is interesting. She says, I know the snap is coming. My mom's going to snap. So I'm going to go over there. And she's like, let's watch Lino. Let's watch our show. Like, she's trying to think of things they do and go and calm her mom down. And so that's, again, not her responsibility. That is not Jeanette's responsibility to calm her mom down or to de-escalate a knife, which is a weapon situation, and a threat and all of that stuff. So I think that just really makes me really sad. Jeanette gets so Jeanette said she got a huge knife and lunge, and he leaves the house. And then as the dad leaves the house after the incident, the mom falls to her knees, starts bawling, and guess who's comforting their parent? After seeing that, Jeanette's as a little kid is holding her and comforting her mother after that incident, rather than the other way around, or the fact that was escalated to a weapon. I just will never, it just blows my mind, because I think back to, like, it's always about Lori. Like, they're the ones that have just been traumatized. The mom's sitting there crying, you pulled the damn knife, nut job. Like, that's on you. Like, that's escalating, like, that's deadly force level of fear. Like, I don't care if it was a threat or not, you pulled a knife and now you're crying, and your little girl is holding you because you can't control your emotions or whatever the case is. It just pisses me off. All right. It just gets me real hot, huh? That sounded weird. Gets me angry. How about that? All right. Wow, that protein is dry as hell. Damn. All right, chapter 7. Jeanette feels like she can't even go to the bathroom because it makes her difficult. So she's at a set. She's doing another movie. Basically, her mom is like, well, you don't want to tell them you have to go to the bathroom. Jeanette's very clear. She has to poop. She says it in the book. I thought it was funny because it's just as blunt as you could be. She's like, I really have to go to the bathroom. I have to poop really bad. I've had to go for a long time. But her mom is putting pressure like, well, you don't want to be needy. And guess what? I did the same kind of thing. I held my bladder and having to go to the bathroom all the time for the convenience of my mom. I did that too. So this hit a little different. I don't even know if it was a forced thing, but I think maybe I was just worried to tell my parent, because when you're worried about your parent reacting, you start to keep to yourself. You stop going to your parent. You stop relying on them. Like, there's a certain point where you shut down and you just realize, this is how I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive in this canal. This is my space to keep the peace. And so she's like, I have to go to the bathroom, but she feels like it's going to make her difficult. So she goes to the bathroom. Her mom is so controlling. She said she has to wipe Jeanette's butt until she's 10 years old. Because at this point, she's like 7 or 8, maybe 7. I can't remember the age, so I should have wrote that down. Sorry. But again, she hated and felt embarrassed that her mom would wipe her butt, and she would wipe her butt so she wouldn't have any poop or anything on her outfits or ever embarrass her mom. You see what I'm getting at? She's not even letting her grow up. She's not letting her live her life, right? So Jeanette finally is able to get a principal actress role. Now that means that Jeanette is now a real speaking actress, not just a background actress. Even though even in Jeanette's first time she ever was on camera, the director was focusing on her. She had a really good scared face. She was doing this crazy role where she's like, I guess they were like in a gas chamber or something like that. That's the role she's in. And she doesn't say anything. She just has a scared face. And the directors loved her already. So her mom's seeing all this progress. And now she finally gets this principal actress, which is like the big thing. Like she wants her to lead a movie, lead a show. Her mom's pushing. We're not just talking about making it. We're talking about making it to the highest level, right? This is like telling your kid, you have to make it to the NBA. You have to make it to the NFL. You have to be a world champion in boxing. It's very small percentage of human beings that can do that in general. So there's a pressure to be the greatest or be the best or be a very top person in a very competitive field, right? And she's young. She's never done this before. This is all new to her. So her mom's been waiting for this moment and is now her mom's pleased. So now Jeanette gets that feeling of, I did good. I did what I'm supposed to do. I'm pleasing my mom. And again, this is the theme that I want to hit on, is it really hurts to know that this is how this transactional love, is. She's having to pay to get love. Oh, I did the thing you wanted me to do. Can I have some love? Can you be happy with me? Can you not yell at me? Here's everything I have, right? It's very, very sad. She wants Jeanette to be a star, okay? Chapter 8, this is where we're going to end today. Jeanette was scared to disappoint her mom, obviously a big theme, but her mom's pushing, so now she's moved from just being in this place to getting signed. She now has her older brother, so Jeanette's mom has her older brother, sibling, also acting, and I guess he does really well. And they perform for, whose parent is that? It's somebody's famous's parent that was their manager. And then she moved on to be a big, talent agent. And so they go and perform for her, and Jeanette gets put a lot of pressure on her to perform, and basically becomes, her brother gets a part and gets signed by the company. And then Jeanette is told that she needs to do some work. So her mom's really disappointed in her for not being a star, right? Again, we're talking about you're the leading role. Very hard to do. Very hard to do. Now, after her older brother gets signed and they get home, I thought this was really, really interesting. Yes. Thank you. I need to read your chat on here so I can read your name. It's Cameron, Candace Cameron. Yes, it's Kurt Cameron's mom, right? And she's a talent agent, and so they sign Jeanette's older brother to like a contract, and then as they're leaving, the mom's like, please sign Jeanette as well. If she doesn't get any work for 6 months, you can drop her, but just sign her, right? She wants this so badly. So they go home, and Jeanette, basically what she said is, on the way home, her disappointing her mom outweighed the fact that her brother got signed. So this whole time, she's feeling already inadequate, and then all of a sudden she is being told, or being shown, that her disappointment is more than what her brother did. So her brother does this great thing, gets signed, but she's more disappointed in Jeanette than she is happy for the brother. And so they get home, she jumps on the phone, I guess she talks to one of the agents and says that please sign her for 6 months, whatever the case is. And then as she's on the phone, she tells Jeanette to say a prayer that they accept her. Now, this is where I need to say we need to stop and talk about this, because this is exactly how Lori was as well. Praying is not a manipulative tool to get what you want from God. I know you do ask for things. We're supposed to ask for things. And the point is, though, there's a surrendering to when you ask versus thinking that God is your genie in a lamp that you rub the side and he comes out and he says, what's your desire, sir? So that's what I feel like she's teaching Jeanette about God, is that God is like transactional as well. And so you just go to God when you need this or want this. So Jeanette folds her arms, because her mom says, fold your arms. This is LDS thing. Everyone who prays for like the LDS church, they usually fold their arms and close their eyes. So that's just like a normal thing that you do. So she says, Jeanette, fold your arms, close your eyes for me, because she's doing dishes and she's on the phone. So Jeanette closes her eyes and says the very typical prayer, which is, thank you, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you so much for all my many blessings. Please bless the mom to accept me into this thing, and please have my mommy be safe and not have, and be healthy. And just sad. Like, it's just a manipulative prayer, because even Jeanette is trying to use and pray to God to give her mom peace, because her mom put her on the spot to pray. And so she has to come up with what to say to God rather than teaching your child to have a genuine connection with God. She's teaching her the same exact kind of love, which is transactional love with God, and only go when you ask for what you need, right? So that is where she ends off, and then they sign her, and we will get into the rest on our next video. Tomorrow, we are going to finish Jodi Hildebrandt's Netflix breakdown. I don't know if you guys have enjoyed these videos. I truly love these videos because I get to read what you guys are saying. I like talking through them. I love when we have stuff to react to. I wish I could show you everything, but obviously with copyright, that doesn't happen. But yeah, let me know if you guys like these kind of videos, because I love having this information and working through this stuff with you guys. So let me know if you like that. But tomorrow's going to be our final episode of the Jodi Hildebrandt documentary from Netflix, and then we're going to do a part 2 for this as well. Like I said, there's so much information in this book. I just didn't feel like it would do it justice to do one video, to be honest with you, because we can't just break down everything she's been through, I think, in one video. That's just how I feel. So okay, good. I'm so glad, man. I love that. What matters to me is that we're learning, growing, and going through this stuff together. And I have a huge big shout out to Jeanette. I think this is a very brave thing to do. This is a very, very brave book to write, and it's very vulnerable. And if you listen to it, you got to be in the place to listen to how detailed and vulnerable it is. You do feel like you're living in the moment with her. That's how descriptive she is. So, you know, that's just what it is. So we have a lot of things. We're going to be covering a lot of new things on the channel. As you guys know, we've talked about this before. I'm excited to try to get some new guests for our podcast. As always, I love having conversations with people. That is like my passion. And I love being able to sit and learn and grow with someone. So I hope I get to bring that to you very soon. Thank you guys for being here today. Reading with Colbert. Exactly. Reading with Colbert. Colbert, the meningitis menace, baby. All right. Love you guys so much. I will see you later. Thank you for being here, mods. Big shout out to you. Thank you for everything you do. And shout out to our warriors, our chiefs, our mother frickin' ones in our community, man. We are blessed, and I am so happy and grateful to have a community with you guys. So appreciate you. Love you. See you soon.